Hello there. Today, Watersports World moves down to the south coast of Great Britain, in fact down to Brighton, but despite the typically British weather, it's got a distinct European taste to today's racing because it's the final of the Europa Cup Speed Ski Challenge. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Now, competitors have come from all over Europe, in fact the best skiers from each country, to battle it out to see really who is the best skier in Europe. So let's go and meet the hot favourite. You're leading this Europa Cup Championship at the moment.
Yes, in the moment I have win 2 races, the second in Italy and the third in Peru. Today, for win the European Cup, I have to arrive 30 seconds behind the first.
Who are the main competitors for you here?
It's the other Italian, Carlo Cassa. He arrived second in the last 3 races. For him, it's important to arrive in front of me to 20 seconds.
But there's another challenge to Gregorio's supremacy in the shape of Britain's Darren Kirkland, probably the fastest man in the world never to win the world title.
Darren Kirkland, from Great Britain's point of view, you've got to be our biggest hope for this race.
Well, I hope so. We've had a couple of good races in the European Cup Series this year. We've had one breakdown, unfortunately, one win, and one race we didn't go to. Hopefully we'll try and get a win today.
Does that mean that you actually will qualify, or does it mean you're actually out of the qualification tables for this cup?
I can actually qualify, no problem, provided we finish today. We can't win, unfortunately, but we can stop my main rival from winning, so we're going to try and do that today.
I think you might be referring to Stefano Gregorio, and earlier when we had a chat with him, he said that you weren't a problem.
Well, we'll find out today. You know, he's always been a problem to me, and I'm sure he thinks the same, but we'll see.
The trio of hot favourites is completed by another Italian, Carlo Cassa. Without his normal crew, he will ski behind Jim Cramphorn's 711. Even so, the genial Italian will pose a constant threat. The final round also attracted many stars old and new, and for one in particular, it involved quite a trip.
Oh yeah, it's a very good race. It's a European Cup race, and it's the closest thing I think you can come to a World Championship race. You've got the top 3 skiers I think in the world out here today, so it's going to be a good race for me to watch and really suss out the competition for the next World Championships. You know, Darren Kirkland from England and Stefano Gregorio from Italy, like they're like on a world, like they're in a league of their own in this sport, and to see them race head to head this afternoon, I can't wait.
That's going to be a good head to head. They're both looking to make a stand and make a real big impression for the coming up to the European Championships in Spain. So it's going to be a good one.
Who's your money on?
Well, Darren's capable, and so's Gregorio. So I think that Darren's, all things being equal, on his own water, should come up with a result.
And they didn't have to wait long. 22 skiers from both Formula 1 and Formula 2, that's the single engines, representing 6 countries, lined up for the off. One flag meant skiers overboard and time to reel out the 200 or so feet of rope. And 30 seconds later, they were off. Well, most of them anyway. The task ahead then, 50 minutes plus 1 lap around the multi-lap circuit, and for the leaders a potential distance of around 80 miles. It's no wonder then these guys are considered to be amongst the fittest athletes in the world. At the end of the first lap in Formula 1, Kirkland, representing Great Britain, had just crept ahead with main rival Gregorio. But perhaps significantly, it was the Italian who held the inside line. Behind them on the same mark in Formula 2, however, there was a major upset. The unfancied Great Britain number 29, John Clements, had stormed into the lead ahead of runaway championship leader Michael Cran of Holland, number 808. fastest man in Formula 2 at this point was number 97, Richard Conniff. After a disastrous start that had left him over a minute adrift, this was the comeback trail. Another top Formula 2 skier in trouble was Nick Butler, Great Britain, also a victim of a poor start and also with lots to do. Up to lap 3 and back with the leaders in Formula 1, 10 minutes of the 50 completed, and Kirkland had surrendered the lead. But not for long, same lap, he was back in front. But watch Gregorio, with the pressure on, this was a crushing blow. And so, for the first time in the race, with the conditions chopping up amongst the back markers, it was Gregorio in control. Fourth in Formula 1 behind Italian Casa was Danny van der Ven, the best of a very strong Belgian contingent here, and eager to prove the best is yet to come. But after 25 minutes racing, the unthinkable had happened to Kirkland. At the very spot where Gregorio had delivered him such a telling blow on lap 3, he fell on lap 8 and could only watch as Casa and company plundered his second position. But on the day, if nothing else, Kirkland was to prove he's a fighter and prepared to join the battle. After only 40 seconds, he was back on his feet and back in the hunt.
In second place. Still waiting to see what's happened with Kirkland up on the top turn there.
Meanwhile, the crew of 178, relieved no doubt that Barry Larson's screaming Hallett towing Kirkland had disappeared, were able to ease off the pace. No such luck though for Gregorio. Any course at any speed requires 100% concentration. And there was always the small matter of teammate Carlo Casa 711 ready to take over at a moment's notice. Back in Formula 2, the remarkable run of 97, Britain's Richard Conniff continued. Last off the line, now he was third. And less than a minute behind class leader Michael Cran, 808. And number 39, Italian David Conti. Well, one thing was for sure, here as the race reached its final stages, this was going to be some finish. In Formula 1, the problems were mounting for Kirkland though. Having recovered to a remarkable third, there was no trouble in the boat. Going into the last lap, it was clear his observer Robbie Wright had broken the seat. Barry Larson again was forced off the throttles. And this, by Darren Kirkland's standards, is now pedestrian. Well, that left the way clear for Gregorio to record his third straight win of the series, and plenty enough to secure another European Championship for the impressive Italian. Casa 711 duly arrived 50 seconds later to notch up a notable Italian double, and at the same time ensure the silver medal would also head to the Adriatic shores. When the Formula 2 leaders arrived, it was all action, with Conti's crew in the Mostas making the most of a slip by leader Cran to take line honours and second place in the championship. Cran had fallen just 100 metres short of the line and was forced back into the boat to put on his ski. He too could only watch as Conniff rounded off the performance of the day by stealing in for an incredible second place. And remember, this man was still on the start line when the rest were out of sight just 54 minutes before. Well, the scoreboard then confirming the day's honours in Formula 1 going to the Italians, with Kirkland's challenge to become the fastest man in Europe sidelined for another season. Overall, though, it could have been worse. Bronze ahead of Van der Ven was reward for determination, but with the Worlds coming up in '95, the Italians look ominous. In Formula 2, the day's honours also belong to Italy, with Richard Conniff coming in for that remarkable second ahead of Holland's Michael Cran. Overall, however, it was Cran who lifted the title, with Conti second and Van der Kay third. These were the 1, 2, 3 overall.
We had a couple of problems. The observer's seat broke today. I actually made a mistake with the length of my line today. I didn't think it'd be quite as rough as what it was. Just a couple of mishaps and didn't get the result we was after.
First and second in the Europa Cup. Fantastic victory for Italy.
Yeah, we are very happy for this race.
And good skiing, isn't he?
Good skiing. I'm very happy because I am the first human, because Stefano is the machine. It's impossible to beat in this water.